this past Monday, he revealed that he was dealing with major health issues. Matter of fact, it was cancer, had bladder cancer, and he had been out of the limelight for the last 5 or 6 months. Didn't tell anyone, and when I mean he didn't tell anyone, he didn't even tell his family. It was a handful of people that knew what he was dealing with. And it wasn't that he didn't want them to know, it was that they're going through some things that he didn't want to share it with them until he got it under control. And he didn't want to tell them about this because he wanted them to focus on what they were doing, the task at hand. He shared, how hard it was for him to deal with what he had to deal with because being bladder cancer, he had to have a bag, colostomy bag, and another bag, and he was talking about how he can't control his bladder in there. He was wet in the bed in his 50s, and he was talking about how traumatic that was, and struggling as a man. But the one thing that really got me was he did several interviews, but he did one special interview with Michael Irvin, and him and Mike very close. They were having an interview, and Deion shared how when he first came home from the hospital, he said, "Man, I was at the lowest that I could ever remember being." He said, "I didn't want to be bothered nobody." He said, "I done lost about 40 pounds." He said, "I'm walking around with a bag. One bag got urine in it, one bag got blood in it." He said, "I can't even go to the bathroom without somebody helping me." He said, I'm sitting here waiting on myself at night." He said, I just felt terrible. He said, "People was calling and calling and wanting to come see me." He said, I wouldn't let nobody see me because I didn't want anyone to see me like that. At that point, he hadn't even told his family members. Anyway, the thing that got me was he said how Michael Irvin called. Michael Irvin didn't call and ask could he come to see him. Michael Irvin called and said, "I'm on my way." And Prime said he didn't give me a chance to tell him no, because I was going to tell him no like I told everybody else no. Michael Irvin said, "I'm coming." He said, "I bang on the door, I climb through the window, I do what I got to do, I'm coming." He said, "I'm coming to see my boy." He said, "I'm coming to see my boy, I don't care about that." And Prime said when he came, he was the first person outside of that immediate circle of doctors and his trainer that's been with him since he was at Jackson State and his son. So nobody else really knew. And he said when Mike came in the room, he said, Mike even said, he said, "Man, I could barely hear you." He said, "Your voice was so weak. I could barely hear you." He said, "But I just knew I just needed to be there." He said, "I knew I needed to see my boy. I needed to see you. I needed to, make sure you all